Well, they say no matter how many times you fall, you're supposed to get back up. Well, the Mean Green have fallen, and they're still trying to find a way to get back up. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing edition of Mean Green Game Day. I'm Sean J. Adam, and with me today, Garen, Sean's, Jack Buckmeyer, and Van Malone. And gentlemen, good to see y'all again. I feel like it's been a while.
It has. It's been a good minute.
I missed y'all's faces.
Yeah, you know, I was. Oh yeah.
Got all that fried food.
I'm going tomorrow. Any recommendations?
Oh man, you gotta get there's a burnt-in brisket burrito.
Okay,
Highly
got it.
recommend.
You got to go with the good old corny dog.
Water.
Okay,
You gotta
yeah.
get Fletcher.
Water.
Water is key.
I'm pretty sure the Mean Green didn't really have time to go to the State Fair because they have
Unfortunately.
been struggling right now. Let's talk about last week's game. They win against Southern Miss. Southern Miss now undefeated in conference play as UNT would fall 45-27 on the road. They're still searching for that first win on the road. Mason Fine, 11 of 25, 217 yards and 3 touchdowns. People are saying on the stat sheet, like, oh, why is it so lower than usual? It's because he got injured late in the game and he would not finish. Also, Trey Siggers, who has just been a marvel for this team. He got injured late in the first quarter and he did not play for the rest of the game. He is listed as questionable tonight, so I think he might be a game time decision. But Garen, I'm going to start with you. What's your overall reaction when you saw the scoreboard?
You know, I think it's the defense has yet to improve for the past 3 years. It's always been, man, defense cannot stop them, and they haven't improved. They've actually digressed every single season, along with the offense the past 3 seasons. Three out of the four losses that UNT has this season allowed over 45 points. Obviously, SMU's a ranked team. You give up 45 plus to Southern Miss, there's absolutely no excuse, and that's not including the 563 yards. And you have an overrated coach in Seth Luttrell. Sorry, don't fire me, but he is overrated. They've digressed every season. You think back just 2 years ago, this was a team competing for the conference championship. The next year, which last year, I mean, they kind of were competing, but not really. We were just kind of like, oh, look, we're going to make it to a bowl game. But we're talking about a guy that is yet to win a bowl game for UNT. And this team is still struggling to get the ball in the air.
How about Jason Bean? Jason Bean, the machine, the arm sleeve with a dream. I love Jason Bean. You know you're in trouble when Jason Bean's coming into the game, though. And so this season, to me, it's kind of like the heavyweight boxer that's kind of just hung into the fight a little too long. Injuries are killing them. The offense isn't meshing with the new coordinator. I think what epitomized the season for me was when they cut to Mason Fine during the game after he got hurt, and he's sitting on the bench by himself with his head in his hands. It's just one of those where, as a fan, you're watching, you're like, wow, this might actually be over. The dynasty of Mason Fine is over. So it was. I'm not going to say Seth Luttrell's an overrated coach, but I'm also going to stay with the doom and gloom, and I'm just going to say I do think the season might in fact be over.
Yeah, that Southern Miss game it really happened like the worst time. Injuries were happening. The team was already on a losing streak. It was an away game against one of the best teams in the conference, against one of the hottest quarterbacks in our conference, Jonathan Abram. I mean, you really, everything that can go wrong in these last 2-3 weeks really has gone wrong. Mason Fine, we're seeing his health slowly regress. It was a lower body injury last year. Now we're having this shoulder injury. He's not a big guy, so he can't really take a lot of hits. And when he does, you can see his impact decrease. Defensively, they've had problems. So, but you know, Southern Miss is a great offensive team. I mean, they hung in with Alabama, which is, you know, it wasn't the typical Alabama versus small school.
Yeah.
Insert small school here. So I give it to them.
It was still a Conference USA team competing with Alabama.
Yeah, and you know, Southern Miss is one of the best teams in this conference. It was an away game. It was really something. I don't want to say the season is over. It's definitely something. Like, for example, this game happened week 3. We have, okay, you know what, it happens. Blowout, we're good, let's bounce back. There's not a whole lot of time to bounce back from this.
Season.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of time to, and then it's tough. It is definitely a tough loss. But this team, obviously, they're an experienced team. They've been with Seth Luttrell for a while. I would like to see them bounce back. I think this is a prime-time bounce-back game, a prime-time opponent say, hey, look, we have to come in here and take care of business and get the W.
Yeah, and Van, you were talking about Jack Abraham being a hot quarterback. Talk about it. 29 of 36, 421 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He was lighting up the Mean Green's defense, no problem. Trey Siggers getting hurt. Like I said, he is such an important part of this offense because he is just a diamond in the rough that UNT found. I still don't know how they were able to get him. I mean, it just seems that UNT just has some of the. They are really a great place for running backs to come.
Exactly.
It's a
Deep,
next
very
man up
deep,
mentality for Mean Green.
Absolutely.
RBU.
RBU.
But looking
That's
at
right.
UNT, 2 of 12 on third downs. Look at the time of possession. UNT only had 22 minutes compared to Southern Miss's 37 minutes. What am I supposed to do with that? You can't win a game like that. 2 turnovers is just not a good look for the Mean Green right now. Now, Jack, I'm going to start with you. Do you feel that the season's over? And if it is it due to the injuries or because UNT is just simply they're just not good enough?
Well, it's just one of those things where injuries do play a major factor. When Nick Smith is coming into the game and he's one of your major rushers, that's when you know there is a problem. Your defense is getting no pressure. That's why Jack Abraham threw for over 400 yards. If your defense isn't clicking, your offense isn't clicking, as you were saying before the show started, Graham Harrell was this mastermind, and now he goes to USC and he's showing that he's still a mastermind. And now you're looking, especially against Houston, we were watching the game and it's 3rd and 10 and you have the prized Mason Fine as your quarterback and you run a QB sneak on 3rd and 10. It's like, I guess the offense still isn't clicking, but I mean, it's week 6, so hopefully the offense should be clicking. But it's just one of those things where the defense isn't clicking, offense isn't clicking, so I feel like if it's not going to work now, it's not going to work 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on that one because, like we were saying, is Graham Harrell, he is an offensive mastermind. I mean, the past 2 seasons, UNT had one of the most explosive offenses in the entire NCAA football. I mean, we think back, beginning of the season, it was Mason Fine for Heisman, and now it's Mason Fine just
finished the season.
Yeah, and it's just Mason Fine trying to get some sort of all-conference honors, but now he might not even get a Conference USA quarterback of the year, player of the year. I mean, this is a totally different team without Graham Harrell. And now USC fans are like, wait, who's Steve Sarkisian again? We don't miss that guy because they got Graham Harrell. They're absolutely killing it. And now UNT continues to struggle, cannot get anything at all going offensively. This looks like a totally different team. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. I think that Seth Luttrell is very, very overrated.
I mean, it's a bold statement. Van, you're kind of shaking your head there.
This is a guy that everyone was saying he was going to go to
look, to be fair,
North Carolina.
Let me respond to that. Overrated, I don't know. I mean, when you completely turn around a program like this, where you go,
that's what I give him the
you
credit
go
for.
1-11, the coach gets fired 1 hour after the game. Seth Luttrell comes, they go 5-8, then they go to bowl games 3 consecutive years. Yes, they've been blown out.
How much can you just be okay with just making a playoff?
You're absolutely right.
Making a bowl game and not winning?
Do I think they were overhyped? Absolutely.
Yes.
But to say he's overrated, I think that's just a tad strong. But we'll kind of break that down later in the show. But like I said, Texas versus OU went down to the wire, and we recap the Red River Showdown.
Hey, look, it's those guys.
Ooh, cute.
Are you good to try?
I'm fine.
How many did you have?
I should be fine.
You should be.
Sir, go ahead and step out of the vehicle for me.
Yes, sir. See ya, buddy. Today, Sean's got a hearing. We'll see how it goes. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first.
Well, the Mean Green, they're about to have a good kickoff today, but I think I want to recap the Red River Showdown. Obviously, you seem to be a big
Boomer
supporter
Sooner,
of
baby.
OU, Boomer Sooners, but let's talk about it. OU did win 34-27. It definitely was a shootout. They did not disappoint in the Red River Showdown. And Garen, I am going to start with you. Seth Luttrell's alma mater with OU. You must be pretty proud of that, considering how you kind of lit him up in the last
You know, I lit him up, but you know, I'm talking about the current Oklahoma Sooners.
So, what do you take away from that game?
My biggest takeaway is Jalen Hurts is a Heisman. People were like, man, he kind of hurt his chances. He threw an interception against Texas. Texas is a better defense. They're acting like Jalen Hurts had a bad showing. He had a better showing than Tua Tagovailoa, who played the whole game. Let's not forget that. He did play the entire game. Jalen Hurts, 253 yards, 3 touchdowns, just 1 interception. But how about this, 171 rushing yards and a touchdown of himself. And that's not even including today's performance. I mean, right now he is absolutely demolishing West Virginia on the ground. Last I checked, he's still the leading rusher, and he's already thrown for over 200 yards and a touchdown. So this guy is a Heisman, and 3 times in a row, Oklahoma going to have a Heisman Trophy winner. That's my prediction.
He's a Heisman winner, or he is a Heisman?
No, I think he's
the actual trophy.
He's
the actual trophy now?
He's
He's so good at
He's the Heisman Trophy.
Every game he's going to be doing the pose?
Every time.
He's the actual trophy.
Every time. But, I mean, once again, Texas, they only play to play Oklahoma. So from here on out, you're going to see this team kind of not give a crap. And that's my, so I don't know if I can say crap on air, but
It's too late.
I said it
You've
twice.
already said it twice.
But Sam Ellinger, 210 passing yards, and then a whole lot of nothing from the rest of the Texas offense. Sam Ellinger is a very Colt McCoy-like player, but Texas didn't play their national championship game that they were hoping, and by that I mean just playing Oklahoma. And Oklahoma beat them up pretty well.
I'm one of those people that absolutely hates the Red River rivalry. I don't care about it. I always turn the channel. I always want to watch the Scrubbies play instead of watching that
You
game.
like watching Big Ten games, don't you?
But
He does like watching
But
big
I
games.
watch. I turn the game on. I watch it, man, and talk about a snoozer in the first half. I'm sitting there. It was like 10-3 going into halftime. It was a snoozer. It took them almost a minute and a half to kick the last field goal. It was just a snoozer. But then you'll go in the second half, and then all of a sudden it's an offensive explosion. That's when I was like, okay, this is a good game. So now going back into it, the big thing was Oklahoma's defense. Can Sam Ellinger just absolutely torch them? Houston torched them. It was one of those things where, does Oklahoma get killed? But then they come out and get 9 sacks. They don't allow anything. Sam Ellinger
Totally different
looked
defense.
like Shane Buechele back at UT. They did not look very good. But then all of a sudden, Sam Ellinger started. The gear started going. Both of them started playing well. But Texas, the first half was too bad for them. They couldn't overcome it, and Oklahoma kept going.
I think this is more bad Texas than it is good OU, because we kind of know Texas corners are not good.
Yeah.
And when you have arguably a top 3 wide receiver in the country coming through, CeeDee Lamb,
Woo.
I mean, this guy, CeeDee
How about that
Lamb,
performance, though?
This guy, CeeDee Lamb, is a
He looked like
monster.
DeAndre
He can play.
Hopkins out there.
And he can play. And I love that Texas reference. Yeah, I love that. But really, that's kind of their issue. Texas has been, we thought Texas O-line coming through would give up 9 sacks. Sam Ellinger, honestly, to me, Sam Ellinger has, we think about the upper echelon of quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Justin Fields, Tua. Sam Ellinger I haven't seen anything that made me like, wow, look at this guy. Look at this guy play.
Very Colt McCoy.
It's very, above average.
Yeah.
B+, A-.
It's a backup quarterback. type.
Okay, I
I'm
wouldn't
saying
go
in
that
NFL, it's a backup quarterback.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously, he plays like a right-handed Tim Tebow. I would say he's a better thrower than Tim Tebow. Obviously, he's very similar goal line within the 5 yards. We know what's happening.
Yeah.
Sam Ellinger up the middle.
Right.
But Texas, were they a little bit overrated? Yes. Are they a good team? Yes. I think OU is obviously a better team coming in. Texas' biggest issue, I believe, is the corners. That secondary. If that secondary, 1, has to get healthy, 2, has to get a little bit more discipline. When they face those better players, then they'll see success.
So let me say this real quick. You said the corners are the weak point. I disagree. They are a weak point, but the weakest point is the O-line. That O-line
Exactly. It was terrible.
I know a lot of Texas fans were saying that, we can beat OU. The only chance you had is if Sam Ellinger decided to be I don't know, he just was a possessed man and just decided to throw for like 5 touchdowns,
Yeah.
like not a single incompletion. He didn't have
wasn't
that.
2018.
He
Sam
didn't have
for sure.
time. He didn't have time to throw the ball. On paper, this should have been a complete blowout. The only reason OU did not keep this, it was not a blowout, was because of Texas.
Well,
because look, how many times in the first half did OU get to the goal line, but then it was Jalen Hurts that made a mistake?
Yeah.
This is why, look, here's the thing. Jalen Hurts, he did good, but compared to how he's been playing, this kind of hindered his Heisman candidacy.
I don't think so.
Don't get me wrong. Do I still think he's the front runner? Arguably, maybe 1 or 2. it didn't help that he had a really bad interception. I don't know where he was going with
Yeah,
that. And that fumble was terrible. You cannot do that when you're close to scoring. He was the only reason Texas was still in the game. It should have been like 21-0 by halftime.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Because it's like, comparatively to how he's playing for the rest of the year, he's been almost perfect the entire year, and he has one bad game. Yes, it will hurt him.
It really wasn't even that bad, though.
Look,
it was not
I mean, bad
9
game
sacks
too.
on Ellinger. That's a school record for OU.
But put some respect on OU's defense.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
See,
no,
I wouldn't become with that.
This is a national championship type team.
Absolutely.
And name one person that's not rooting for Jalen Hurts to go off and play Alabama in the national
Texas
championship.
Jack Buckmeyer.
Every
right
single
here. I
person,
don't want him.
every single person outside of Jack
man.
is rooting for Jalen Hurts to take Oklahoma to the national championship. Oklahoma finally has a defense. You have the most creative offensive mind in Lincoln Riley. Put him up against Alabama, and I think Jalen Hurts is just a little bit motivated. He works out after the games. This guy is
you say they have a
phenomenal.
defense. Literally from last year, you cannot get any worse. So they have to get better. There's like literally nowhere to go but up from last year. So yes, they have
No,
a
but
better
here's the defense is really
Yeah,
good.
no, yeah,
because
yeah, of
because
course.
they held Texas running backs to under 100 yards
Of
rushing.
course, yeah.
2.8 yards per carry. That's really good. This is a good defense.
Kenneth
Kenneth Murray is one of the best linebackers in the nation.
He's a great linebacker. The defense is flying all around him. You can tell they did a complete scheme change from last year. They are doing really good. You give Jalen Hurts a defense like he did with Alabama, of course they're going to do good because Jalen Hurts is just that special type of player.
Yeah.
Do I still think they're the favorite for the national championship? No. I still think Ohio State overall is a better team. I think Alabama is a better team. So I think Jalen Hurts, yes, he's going to be motivated against Bama, but will he have a chance? Will he get that opportunity against Bama? We'll see. Now, we talked about OU. Let's switch over to Texas. Jack, I'm going to start with you. Where does Texas go from here?
Well, first off, that game, man, how everyone gets a penalty to begin the game. I thought
that was unnecessary.
Come on now.
That was wild.
That part of the game is them talking to each other.
It's one of the biggest rivalries.
That's part of the game. And then, of course, the horns down. That'll always make me mad because that's always it. But Texas, their only 2 losses were against top 10 teams. And then they're playing Kansas, TCU, Kansas State, Iowa State, Baylor, and Texas Tech. They don't have the hardest rest of the season. I think they'll
Lose
coast
3 of those games.
I'm not going to say that, but they're gonna play their game. I'm not going to say coast, but they're going to breeze through it. They're going to meet Oklahoma again I think it's at Cowboy Stadium again, Big 12, and it's going to be another big game.
That's bold. Over Oklahoma State?
I'm actually going to raise the horns this time.
Even over Baylor?
I have a love-hate relationship with Baylor, so I'm going Texas.
No, Texas is a better team than Baylor.
Yeah, they are. I do want to say watch out for that OU Baylor game. Watch out for that game. OU versus Baylor. It's in Waco at night. That is a trap game for OU.
Okay, well,
that is a trap game.
Best thing Texas can do, according to Joe Klatt, all they can do is hope for maybe a title opportunity because playoffs completely gone.
No, it's
now.
gone.
Exactly.
Gone. But so maybe have an 11-12 win season, but I don't really know where they go from here. It's pretty tough for Texas, but I still think they're pretty good. But the new AP poll rankings actually came out, and how much did Georgia's loss affect it? We discuss next.
Listen.
All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly, everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just
Listen.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Every year, 40% of all food in the U.S. never gets eaten.
40%. That's almost half the food we produce.
Food waste is a serious problem. It impacts all of us.
And it's expensive. Your family is throwing $1,500 a year in the trash.
We're working hard to put food waste on the chopping block.
And you can do the same at home.
Learn how to cook it, store it, and share it.
Just don't waste it.
Go to SaveTheFood.com.
Well, the new AP poll rankings recently came out, and number 1 through 5, it's Bama, LSU, then Clemson, Ohio State, and then Oklahoma. But a big shocker here is that Georgia lost to South Carolina. Georgia is now top 10. They're number 10 in the top 25. Wow. It is not a good look so far. So Van, I'm gonna start with you. How much did that loss to South Carolina completely change the outcome for the playoffs?
I mean, the voters were waiting for it. They were like, give me one, give me a reason.
Yep.
Give me a reason. Because Georgia, I believe, won. Clemson is teetering that line of give me a reason.
Oh, yeah.
Because they will plummet you quick.
Yeah.
We see that. We see that now. And then with Georgia, what that Georgia loss, what that means is, first of all, I believe South Carolina, they weren't even 500 at the time. And they were at home. It was one of those losses that you can't have. And people talk about the cliche, a trap game. That's a trap game, That was not necessarily a trap game. It's not a game that people look at the schedule like, oh, okay, watch out for this one. It was one of those all right, take care of business, do what you got to do. It was huge for the Georgia outlook and then Jake Fromm's outlook, because Jake Fromm did not look impressive in that game. Now, granted, his weapons aren't exactly up to par what he's previously had, but it's Georgia. I mean, they're one of the best schools in the country, and it's just you get five-star recruits lining up to play for you. Yeah. So you kind of just have to take care of business there against a undermanned South Carolina team. But dropping them all the way to top 10, it's looking like the rankings they're like, give me a reason to drop you. Look bad. We see Clemson, they're at 3 now because they've looked bad. They haven't lost. Give me a reason to drop you down, and they will. That's what it's looking like from the voters' perspective.
Yeah. I think I got to agree with you on that one, because I think Georgia, they're right now, they got to try and make the SEC championship, and I think everyone's kind of rooting for Alabama to lose, because who isn't
Not
tired
me, roll
of seeing,
tide. Roll tide, baby.
Who isn't rooting for anyone other than Alabama to win a national championship?
Look, I'm a big fan of good college football, and if Bama consistently brings it, then bring it.
It's Nick Saban, and he's going to continue to go there. I know he's always going to go to a national
I'm going to quote Nick Saban here. I'm not going to answer it, so quit asking.
I mean, it's just kind of like, man, Georgia now, everyone's rooting for them to defeat Alabama in that championship. I think it is kind of dumb that the SEC is laid out with Alabama and LSU both on the same, I guess, division is what you would call it.
Yeah.
And they're going to face off, what is it, this week or next week? What is that? What is that? They're going to have to play Georgia, who obviously is not near as good as Alabama. You have LSU with Jake Burrow, who is right now is leading the Heisman candidates in voting at the moment. And now they're going to have to play Alabama, LSU, and that's not even going to be able to be a national championship game. So not only will LSU probably not make it because they have to play in Alabama, but Georgia losing 2, that completely shakes everything up for the entire playoff.
Major thanks to Georgia for choking a little early this year. You always wait for it at the end of the year. They always end up losing some stupid game.
They're regretting not putting in Justin Fields
early this year. Props to them. And rule number 1: never trust a kicker with glasses. Name a good kicker with glasses. I'm just gonna wait for it. Exactly.
Dan Bailey.
You can.
Oh man.
Many apologies to you, but I mean, you got to make that kick. If you're on Georgia, you got to make kicks, and he didn't make the kick. So I mean, welcome to the wall of shame. So, and that dropping them 7 spots to 10.
That they were waiting.
That was the one where the voters were like, man, whichever team in the top 4 loses first, we're gonna kick them really hard. But and then LSU, they have a difficult schedule, but Joe Burrow has come out. Who knew of Joe Burrow 2 years ago, and all of a sudden now he's a hero. Now he's a Heisman front runner.
I don't remember the last time an LSU quarterback was this good.
Jamarcus Russell, baby.
Woo.
That was my guy.
Zach Mettenberger.
But it's one of those. It was that Georgia losing and dropping 7 spots was just one of those where it was like, wow, the voters finally just got rid of that grief they had against the top 4. So now it's time. Now it's time to wait them out.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, looking at it, I don't think the voters, I don't think they had it like written like, oh, we have to drop them. I just think because this season college football is really exciting. I mean, LSU all of a sudden's on the come up. Ohio State looking unstoppable. Bama just looks like Bama. And then, of course, Notre Dame still kind of being a shocker right now. And then Georgia losing. They're just like, look, we have high expectations this season. And if you can't beat South Carolina, why are we going to put you in? So, yeah, It's definitely a bad look for Georgia. They need to bring out the medical equipment because they're on life support right now. It's not a good look. Jake Fromm, he struggled in the game, but to me, it's not all on him. I mean, receivers are dropping balls left and right.
Yeah, you're right.
Those interceptions were not his fault. They're dead center in your hands. You're supposed to catch those. Yeah. So definitely not a good look. Now, kind of switching gears a little bit. Garen, I'm going to start with you. Who do you think are the dark horse teams that may sneak in?
You know, I put Ohio State, but I think Ohio State's a dark horse to win the entire championship because
I agree.
A lot of people are just no one's really talking about them.
They just keep winning.
I mean, Justin Fields is getting completely overlooked because right now it's Jalen Hurts, and rightfully so, Jalen Hurts, and it's Tua and it's Joe Burrow, but nobody's talking about this Ohio State quarterback. And let's not forget, they have J.K. Dobbins, who is also one of the best running backs in the nation, already almost 1,000 yards. This Ohio State team is very complete, and who would have thought this after the departure of Urban Meyer? But Zach Smith filling in perfectly, and is more than likely going to lead them, I think, to a national championship. And they're going to win their first one since having Ezekiel Elliott and Cardale Jones.
How about that drum cadence right when you started talking?
I know.
No disrespect.
I know.
But y'all are talking about the dark horse. You said Ohio State. I'm looking more at the people that will cause the most commotion in the top 10.
Yeah.
You have Wisconsin going against Ohio State next week. Then Penn State will play Ohio State. So those are 2 games that can knock Ohio State off potentially. Then you have LSU against Alabama, and then Alabama at Auburn, which is always a coin flip game there. And then you have Florida playing Georgia, which is going to throw another wrench in there. Penn State's one of those weird teams where their offense, their offense is weird. It's one of those teams that can drop 50 points every week, but then they're also that team that will drop 10 points.
Yeah.
But that defense, oh my goodness, that is one of the best defensive fronts I've seen.
Second best in the nation.
Second best in the nation, one of the best defensive fronts. They potentially have 2 to 3 players that might go in the first round in the draft. And then you have Wisconsin, who's unfortunately might lose in a few minutes, so might just ruin my entire argument.
They might have lost already.
But Jonathan Taylor he's a beast. He's probably one of the best running backs in the country. Then they have their offense isn't the best. Take Jonathan Taylor out, and you have a bunch of high schoolers trying to play against big team offense. But they have the number 1 defense in the country. So they have the potential. Those teams I just said have the potential to go in to the top 5, top 10, and just cause commotion in there. And that's what I stuck to, more of the commotion base than to actual.
All right, so just to let you know, Jack, Illinois beat Wisconsin 24-23.
What?
Well,
wow.
What?
I'm gonna go ahead and just say I am sorry to everyone watching.
What?
Oh,
That's
no.
a bummer.
What?
Summer.
Breaking news here at Mean Green Game Day.
I'm a liar, so I apologize.
Oh man. Okay. Well, I was gonna talk about Wisconsin. Never mind.
Yeah, try to gather yourself. Try to
go back to my plan B. But let me say this: Big Ten is my least favorite conference. It's cold. The football's boring.
Wait,
That's it.
Hold on.
I don't like them.
But you're going to overlook the Big Ten, but this might. I think the Big Ten personally has kind of overtaken the SEC as being the best conference to watch for football. I'm being for real.
I mean, honestly,
Michigan,
we have our
Ohio
yearly
State,
Iowa upset.
Penn State.
It happens.
I mean, there's so many good teams in this Big Ten conference.
This is me personally.
It's hard to overlook.
It's cold.
So
I don't like that.
It is cold. I don't.
But so go ahead. What are your dark? What is your backup
my dark
horse?
team? I kind of like Notre Dame. Ian Book is a good. You know, hear me out. I kind of like Notre Dame.
Man, go ahead. Finish your argument.
I like Notre Dame because of their schedule.
Okay.
They don't play anybody good.
Because they don't choose their conference.
No, real quick. I'm going to give my argument real quick. So yes, my dark horse team is Notre Dame.
Because they don't play anybody.
Hold on. Because look. They only have 1 loss, and it was to Georgia in their opener. Okay?
Exactly.
So
and they look good. They look good.
That was when Georgia was good before the upset. Now, Georgia's loss. Georgia's lost to South Carolina, it kind of counteracted it. People just forget about it. Okay. So the only tough game Notre Dame has is Michigan, and that's next week. Do you like Michigan?
Over Notre Dame?
Yeah.
A team.
The
Yes, I
offense-
do like
Well,
Notre Dame.
Michigan's
I do
offense
like
is
Michigan over
terrible.
Notre Dame.
Ian Book is a baller.
Notre Dame is garbage. They won't choose
No. So,
a
look,
conference.
so then after Michigan, every team they face until playoffs, they're all unranked. Notre Dame. This is what happened last year. Everybody took Notre Dame. Nobody thought Notre Dame was
And
going
what
to do
happened
anything.
to Notre Dame when they go to the playoffs?
But they made it.
They get beat by.
But they
It's a dark horse. Wisconsin lost.
But did they make it?
They made
That's
it,
what
but
I
they
thought.
should not. They
So look,
did not deserve to
so
make
yes.
it over Georgia.
Hey, look, and they deserve to make it this time over Georgia if Notre Dame keeps winning. So look,
Exactly.
Notre Dame, Wisconsin, you might want to scratch them up. Oregon's still doing good. Penn State's doing good. There's a lot of teams that's doing really good. So, really good segment, guys. I think we all need to calm down after finding out what happened to Wisconsin.
It's too hot out here to be yelling.
We know what UNT is bringing to the table, but we're going to talk about what Middle Tennessee brings to the table next on Mean Green Game Day.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. Got it. No.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Well, this is the 16th meeting between the Mean Green and the Blue Raiders, with UNT just ahead with 8 series wins. So maybe tie it up. Middle Tennessee looking to tie up the series overall. So, Garen, I'm going to start with you. How does UNT match up with the Blue Raiders?
Well, right now you got Asher O'Hara, who is the quarterback, and not only is he the passer for the team, he's also their leading rusher. So when your quarterback is your leading running back, there's a lot of problems there. But then again, you're going against probably the worst defense in the conference in UNT. So, I mean, you got a big chance there, because if O'Hara, if he can find the weak spot, which is basically the entire defensive line and defensive backs of UNT, I think the linebackers are about the only positive note here. I think that Middle Tennessee has an actual chance to beat UNT today.
Okay.
You don't roast my guy Asher O'Hara. He's a good.
I just said he's got the chance to go ahead and win.
Of course he runs a little bit, but he's still a good quarterback. And also North Texas hasn't faced a mobile quarterback this year. At least to his caliber. Shane Buechele is a quote unquote mobile quarterback, but he's not an Asher O'Hara. And the Middle Tennessee, their wins this year, they beat Marshall, and that's sure as heck a lot more impressive than the 2 wins North Texas has this year.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
I think a good competitive 6A high school team can give UTSA a run for their money. And I mean, if anybody expected Abilene Christian to beat North Texas, you're lying to yourself.
I'd pay for that. I'd pay for UTSA versus
against Allen. Exactly. I would pay for that too. But Middle Tennessee is a I'm not going to say they're the upper echelon of teams in CUSA, but they're not a cakewalk of a team. Asher O'Hare is a really good quarterback. He replaced Brent Stockstill last year, who led him to CUSA, the title game, and he won CUSA MVP. And he's doing an admirable job. He's not, of course, at the caliber. And then you got to factor in, how is Mason Fine's shoulder doing? Is Trey Siggers going to play? It's one of those where Middle Tennessee is coming in. They don't have a lot of injuries. They're coming in on a favorable kind of atmosphere. And it's one of those games where I don't know if I can every week predict that UNT is going to win. It's just one of those where I don't know anymore.
It should be the Middle Tennessee O'Hara's, because I mean it's really
the
he's
blue
kind
O'Hara's.
of really he really is the guy. Now you look at it. You have two desperate teams, two 2-4 teams trying to win. But what's the difference between Middle Tennessee and UNT? Is Middle Tennessee is more healthy?
Yeah.
I think Middle Tennessee is more healthy. UNT, I would say, is more desperate because of the preseason hype and how the disappointment has come. This is a must-win. Like, UNT has to win, because if you look at their schedule, I have it here. Charlotte, it's probably a W. UTEP, probably a W. Rice, probably a W. And then that's really it for all the out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams, 5 games left. That's probably 3. That's 3 probably W's. Well, you have La Tech and UAB. That's 5 wins out of the 2. That'd be 5 wins total if we stick to convention. That means no bowl game. So this is a must-win game if they want to hit that 6th win. And that's why I believe UNT is going to play more desperate. But you got to watch out. You have to watch out for Asher O'Hare, because he's a great player. He's a great player. He leads this offense, and he's going to do his thing.
One thing I did want to mention to your point, Jack, is if Trey Siggers doesn't play, I think that's the most confident I'm in for North Texas is their running back depth.
Yeah.
When you have DeAndre Torrey and you also have Lauren Easley, these are 2 guys that were absolutely phenomenal last season, and now they're having to play backup to Trey Siggers. I mean, Lauren Easley was off to an amazing start last season and then tears his ACL. And then DeAndre Torrey fills in and goes for almost 1,000 yards that season within 6 games. So I'm not worried at all if Trey Siggers is not able to play, but it's definitely a question mark. But I think it's scary that the only position I'm confident in is the running back position. And we see where that gets you, as Wisconsin just lost that game with running back being their best and most deep position.
UNT's defense is a problem. And not a good
It
problem
is.
where they're
No.
disrupting plays.
No.
Look, UNT's offense, they're scoring 32 points per game. That's pretty good. But guess what? Guess how much their defense is giving up?
Like 90?
32 points. So it doesn't do anything. So
Make it even.
It doesn't do that. And UNT really, offensively, they're struggling. 3rd down conversions. 31 of 92 on 3rd down conversion. 34% conversion rate. There's a reason why UNT's 2-4 right now. That's not a good look.
They need to go crawling for Graham Harreld.
You don't know what you have until it's gone.
It's not a good look. But looking at the first quarter, UNT has been struggling the first quarter the most. They've been outscored 68-31. They do great in the second half, but it doesn't help when you've dug yourself that big of a hole. So the only good thing I see here is that Middle Tennessee is playing just as awful as North Texas in this season. Look, player to watch, linebacker Khalil Brooks, he's doing great. 16 career sacks, tied nationally, 16th overall, so really good job there. UNT overall, history-wise, they won the first 5 meetings against Middle Tennessee, but Middle Tennessee has won 7 of the last 10, which is not a good, and they won the last 2 meetings. Rick Stockstill is a really good coach. Last year, he won Conference USA Coach of the Year.
Good.
He's a solid guy.
In this case,
that's why I can see
this
the
case,
Raiders
absolutely.
winning it.
In this case, I give Middle Tennessee the coaching edge.
Yeah.
It's just Middle Tennessee, they're more desperate for a win. Yes, UNT is desperate, but at least UNT in the back of their mind, they look, we know we're a good team. It's just we got to piece it out together. Middle Tennessee's like, look, we got to do this.
We got to do this.
We got to do this. We've been basically not really that good in Conference USA overall. Middle Tennessee in the first quarter, they've also been awful. 56-26, they've been outscored. So this is a battle of who's less awful in the first quarter.
Who's got the worst
gonna
defense?
Score?
That's exactly what it is. Who's got the worst defense?
Now, the only problem for UNT is when Middle Tennessee does get in the red zone, they score.
Yeah.
54% of the time, they score a touchdown. So UNT needs to avoid having Middle Tennessee score in the red zone. So not a good look overall. Now, let's try to change gears a little bit. Van, I'm going to start with you. What happens to UNT if they lose this game?
If they lose this game,
then
bowl game is a big old question mark on that bowl game. We don't know. I've been kind of looking at bowl game projections, and UNT is coming in fewer and fewer and fewer of those projections as the schedule gets tougher. Because like I mentioned, Charlotte, UTEP, Rice, yeah, okay, you can probably see those as a W. But La Tech and UAB, two of the best teams in the conference. Those are two games that we can see L's at. We can see the L's there. So if they don't win this game, you could see a 5-win team, which would be, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, you don't know what you have until it's gone. Rico Bussey going out.
Yeah.
We thought, okay, yeah, they're going to be pretty good. No, it's like, that's a huge loss. And, it's, you know, you don't know what you have until it's gone. And seeing that go down, the offensive production go down along with Graham Harrell's loss, they have to win this game to try to compete for a bowl game, to make it to a bowl game. Because if they don't, that road gets exponentially tougher to try to reach the bowl game. Conference USA Championship, that's out of the question. Nah, it ain't happening.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, I think we were all semi-wrong in the beginning of the year, our first game.
No, not semi-wrong. We were dead wrong. Like, it's not sugarcoated. We were all wrong. Everybody had huge hype for UNT.
That even if they do make the bowl game, it's still going to be a loss.
It's going to be tough.
Because I don't think this team, as long as they're under, I don't want to hate on Seth Luttrell because he has turned the program around, but when you're not the best coach in Conference USA, let's be honest here, it's Conference USA.
Look,
Middle Tennessee's got the best
overall
coach.
bottom line for UNT, if they lose, I think they're out of Conference USA running completely. Because look,
for sure.
They lost to Southern Miss, and Southern Miss and La Tech, they have a matchup tonight. More on that later. That's a matchup of who's going to take over the West Division. So that's a good matchup. So UNT, if they lose today, they've completely fallen behind. They're good. But now, let's have a little fun here. Let's go bold predictions. I'll give my bold prediction right now. The last time Middle Tennessee was held to less than 100 yards of total offense was in 2007, and it was against LSU.
Oh.
So I think, you know what? UNT is going to hold them to under 100 yards of total offense.
Interesting.
That is very
It's bold.
bold.
It's bold. Give me the bold hat.
I can't even like
Abilene Christian dropped 30 on us. I don't think.
I don't think that's
It's a
even
bold
possible.
prediction. I'm bold here right now.
The luck
I think it's the suit because I'm hot. I'm going with that bold
You want to
prediction.
know my bold prediction?
Go ahead.
Is Asher O'Hara runs for over 200 yards today.
Okay. Not bad.
I like that.
If UNT loses, they better get on their knees and start praying, because that's the only way they're going to even
where's
get
that
close.
Pope,
My
you know,
bold
the Pope
prediction.
that's around
My
here?
bold prediction right now is I don't think Mason Fine finishes this game. I think he gets hurt. I think he gets hurt. I know. I think he gets hurt.
That's not bold.
And he hurts the shoulder.
The wood right here.
The shoulder gets hurt. And he doesn't finish the game. I'm not going to say he doesn't finish the season. He might miss a couple games, but I don't think he finishes. I think my boy James Dean, the man with the arm sleeve with a dream, I think he's going to win. I think he'll come in and he'll prove that he is the future. He is Mason Fine's replacement. That's my bold prediction.
My bold prediction, I'm going to go with Michael Lawrence, the guy we kind of expected everybody to step up. I think he's going to have 200 yards plus receiving tonight.
Wow.
Okay, wow.
I think he's going to go off. Because they're going to lean on there. Who has been here? Who's been a playmaker? Michael Lawrence has been the playmaker. Him and Jaden Darden. I think Michael Lawrence is going to go off. I think he will.
Okay, now going off to your bold prediction, is that with Trey Siggers playing or not playing?
Not playing. I don't believe he's going to play.
Okay.
Especially because they have Charlotte and UTEP next week. They're like, okay.
It's not a worry. I don't think it's
not
a worry.
like there's no need to rush him back now. Even though we're desperate, I think with our running back depth, Coach Luttrell said, rest him, make sure he's 100% for next week.
And Jack, real quick to your bold prediction, you said Mason Fine probably won't finish this game. Does that mean that the O-line for UNT is just going to completely collapse? Will there just be Sack City all over?
Saying complete collapse means they have to be there to not collapse. There's no way they're terrible to begin with, and I just think they're going to play like the way they always play, and he's going to get sacked and his shoulder's going to get destroyed again.
Okay. So, I mean, that's pretty bold predictions, boys. I still think mine is probably far-fetched, but I'm having fun here.
Yeah, that's
Michael Lawrence, I'm riding on you, Michael Lawrence. I need you to come on.
We've broken down the games, but it's time we predict them. Next.
Flying O'Hara's.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need?
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. Gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
How's your hair? Is it pretty? Daddy. It's pretty.
I rescued Toast from a shelter in 2011. I love Toast because she's a lazy diva. Toast does whatever she wants, obviously. She's sleeping right now. She's an epic snuggler. She's so comforting. She's so loving. Toast makes me laugh. When I walked into the shelter, I knew right then that she was special.
Well, we are less than 15 minutes away from the kickoff for North Texas versus Middle Tennessee, but before we get to that game, let's predict some other great games. This is a big Conference USA matchup. Southern Miss is at Louisiana Tech. This is to decide who's going to take lead in the West Division of Conference USA. The 51st meeting between these two. That's a long history, a long rivalry there. Southern Miss has won each of these 4 meetings, but I'm going to go with senior QB Jamar Smith, and the only team La Tech lost to was Texas. So technically, La Tech's on a 5-game win streak. I'm going to take Louisiana Tech.
I'm going to go ahead and take Southern Miss. I think the performance they put up, yes, against UNT's defense, but I think that quarterback for Southern Miss, I think he's the real deal. He can really carry this team to a conference championship. You know, Southern Miss, they haven't been to a conference championship in a while. These guys are hungry. Look, over at the Rock, they're like, look, we got Ray Guy, and Ray Guy is our person here. We got Mean Joe Green. They're going to show out for Ray Guy. They're going to go ahead and make a conference championship here. I predict them to go ahead and beat La Tech today.
Before I came here, I watched a commercial of Brett Favre Wrangler jeans commercial. So
Shout out
I was
to Brett
sitting
Favre
there.
too.
He went to Southern Miss,
he
so
did.
of course I was like, man, I should probably go Southern Miss. And I'm gonna stick with it. I like Southern Miss. Jack Abraham, I love him. He's torching. He torched us last week.
Your namesake.
Jack, the connection. We're the same brand. It's a good brand to be a part of. Southern Miss, I got him.
Yeah, I like Southern Miss, hottest quarterback. I'm a big believer in momentum. You have a lot of momentum coming in. He's the hottest player in Conference USA. Ride the wave. I got Southern Miss.
All right, so I guess I'm lone wolfing here. That's not great, but look, here's the thing. For UNT, they need La Tech to win.
They
Because if
really
Southern Miss
do.
takes control,
That's true.
it's not looking good. So hopefully La Tech wins for this. So let's move on. The Michigan Wolverines are visiting for Penn State. That's another great matchup. Michigan's offense, I'm not going to sugarcoat. They're awful. They are awful. The O-line is terrible. There's still a lot to be desired with this defense, this khaki defense that people keep hyping up is supposed to be a top 10 defense, but they're just not looking good. Penn State riding the wave of the win versus Iowa, while Michigan only scored 10 points against that Iowa team, so not looking good.
Barn burner.
Penn State is going to win simply in a blowout.
Am I going to take Michigan against a top 10 team because every single year they will let everybody down? And I am not going to take them at this. I think Harbaugh cannot play against any top 10 ranked team. They kind of crap the bed. I mean, they disappear. There's no offense. The defense will look terrible. Even back to when they had Jabril Peppers and they were playing Ohio State, they don't even show up to these games. It kind of blows my mind. I'm taking Penn State here. I think the offense is a little tricky because, you know, since Saquon Barkley, what is their identity? They're kind of all over the place.
I
But man,
can't tell you any of
their
players.
defense is amazing. And when you put that number 2 defense against Michigan's offense, I'm taking Penn State all day.
The other day was the 4-year anniversary of the muffed punt against Michigan State. It made me giggle. Jim
Jack had a
Harbaugh
giggle.
is the khaki pants. I love him. I come back to the NFL. You're not doing much at Michigan. I'm going to go Penn State. Shea Patterson, I thought he was really good, but turns out I was really wrong.
A lot of hype
It
preseason.
happens a lot to me. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think the Rangers have his draft rights. So maybe he can come to the Rangers organization, come to the new stadium. I'd love to meet him. Come on down.
Need all the help we can get there.
Penn State's going to win. They're the 9-point favorite, and I'm sticking with it.
I think I'm going to go with the upset here.
Okay.
We got Michigan in the upset.
All
I'm
right.
a big believer in, first of all, Coach Harbaugh. Is he a good coach? Yes. Is this his year? Probably not. Michigan is desperate. They want to win. Upsets, and you know, I've been pretty good with these type of things. I'm just feeling an upset here. Nothing, no stats, just kind of gut feeling.
Okay.
I kind of like Michigan here.
All right, kind of quickly here. Arizona State, they're going to be at Utah, Pac-12 matchup. Both teams are 5-1 overall. I'm going to take Utah in this case. I like Tyler Huntley. I'm going with Utah.
I'm taking Utah. I think that running game is very difficult to stop. Sticking with Utah here.
Utah's offense is on the prowl, and Herman Edwards is the coach of Arizona State. I hated him on NFL Live, and I hold a grudge, so I'm going with Utah.
I like Utah. Jordan Love is an NFL caliber quarterback. He's the guy to watch as the combine gets close.
All right, next matchup here. The Ducks are visiting the Washington Huskies.
This could be an
Always
interesting
look forward to those Oregon games because of those awesome uniforms. I'm going to take the Ducks overall. The most impressive thing about Oregon this year is their defense. They've been holding opposing teams to just a little under 4 yards per carry. Really good job. I think they'll be able to shut down the Huskies. I'm taking the Ducks.
You know, real quick, I did want to say, what does Oregon do with these jerseys? Because they never wear the same uniforms twice.
I love it.
I would like for them to send me one of those jerseys after, because I think
Send
they
them to the gift
I think
shop.
they just throw them in the trash can, because I would gladly take one, and I am taking Oregon in this game. You're going to upset, or not going to be upset, but going to beat Washington, the number 25th ranked team. Oregon's going to continue to rise up the rankings with Justin Herbert with a strong performance.
Washington's the team that'll either score 50 points or they'll score 10. It's one of those games. They're ranked 25th. I don't think they should be. They're not going to score a lot. I think Oregon comes out and wins. I don't know why you like the Oregon jerseys so much. They hurt my eyes, but I'm going with Oregon.
I like Oregon. Justin Herbert, this will be a game to show him, like, hey, everybody talking about Tua. Look at me. I'm an NFL caliber quarterback just as much as Tua is. I like Oregon beating Washington.
All right. And our final matchup, here it is, boys. Middle Tennessee, they are here at UNT. Middle Tennessee is looking for their first road win of the season. Middle Tennessee has won the last 2 meetings, and they're 1-2 here at Apogee, though. So you know what? I think that streak stays alive. But in terms of Middle Tennessee losing here at Apogee, I got to go with the home team, and I'm going to wear the new hat they're giving out. The first 1,000 students are going to get this hat, so I highly recommend coming to the game. Unite North Texas. I'm taking the mean green.
Okay, well.
And the sun's immediately out of my eyes.
You know, I know what my prediction was, and I don't want to make our graphics person mad.
They can't, so you got to go with your pick.
You have to go with your original
I'm going to
pick.
stick with UNT on this one, but it's just they're barely going to squeak by, just barely. They're going to stop O'Hara at the 1 yard line for the first play the defense is ever going to make this whole season. They're going to win by probably 2 points.
Oh, man.
And I think that's how it's going to go. So, as you said, I'm taking them.
Maybe a loose hat because you're not
taking
really
them here.
all the way.
Yeah, that's true. It is.
All right, I'm going to stay. Fun fact, I think.
All right,
there we go.
Bro, fun fact, I actually think that North Texas had the attendance record last game. I think I read that right against Houston. It didn't seem like it, but I guess I did leave early, so I guess that's my fault. You know, I'm actually going to stick with UNT. I guess I'm getting.
You hear that right here?
I guess I'm getting drafted, so I guess I'm throwing this on. It's one of those. I guess the liquids are flowing today. I get a little drunk today.
All right, man, real quick.
You know, I like everybody's matchup. I'm loving the hats.
Yep, go ahead.
You know, but I have a different type of hat. You know.
All right.
I have to go with my mean green. You know, I got a different hat. Yep, let me see that hat.
Yeah, let's get it.
Really good job here. It is military and first responders night. I just want to say thank you so much for your service. Hopefully you enjoy the game. This has been Mean Green Game Day.
Yes, sir.
This hat's older than I am.